Hey everyone in YouTube land, this is Jennifer. It is January 20th, 2013. It is Sunday. I just wanted, getting like texted at the same time, and I can't text and talk at the same time. It will never happen. Anyway, I'm making this video to cover a topic that I think a lot of us probably experienced, and I never even knew it had a name to it until this morning. Not that having a name or a title makes it any better or makes it any easier, but at least you can kind of gather all your symptoms together in one big lump and say, okay, well, this defines this, and now I know. And when you kind of have a grasp on things, it's easier to control it, at least for me. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, this is concerning night eating syndrome. And I'm using Wikipedia. Wikipedia is not the most, Wikipedia is not the most, sorry it's so bright. My window, the sun's out today and my window's open, and I need the light because I'm probably going to go out driving today just because I need to get out of my apartment. Totally off topic. Okay, Wikipedia is not the most reliable source. Like, even in school, you are not allowed to use Wikipedia in your papers because it's not a reliable source. But I'm using it for this purpose simply because out of all the websites that I went to gather information on this topic, Wikipedia seems to kind of take it takes pretty much everything that I've learned on every website and puts it into one. So it's just easier this way. But night eating syndrome is not the same thing as eating in your sleep. That's a totally different eating disorder. It's completely different. But let me just define it first. Night eating syndrome, also known as midnight hunger, is a new eating disorder diagnosis. It's characterized primarily by a persistent pattern of late-night binge eating. It can affect both ages, all ages and sexes, but it's more common in young women. It's often accompanied by or confused with nocturnal sleep-related eating, which is a sleep disorder where you eat. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about a sleep disorder. I'm talking about an eating disorder where you get most of, or at least 25% of your calories in the evening hours, late night hours. Okay, let me just put this. The symptoms, magical text message. I thought I turned this off. Anyway, symptoms and behavior of night eating syndrome include skipping breakfast. You can go several hours throughout the day without eating at all, without feeling hungry at all. You don't even care that you haven't eaten, and then like 4 or 5, 6 o'clock comes, and you're just eating from like that time until the time you fall asleep. Consuming 25% or more of your calories after 7 or 8 o'clock after dinner. So after you eat your dinner, you eat your portion, you're fine, but then you continue to eat, and most of your calories for the day come from the time after dinner to the time you've gone to bed. Most of these foods that you eat after dinner consist of mostly carbohydrates or sugar. So it says late night binges almost always consist of consuming carbohydrates. However, this eating is typically spread over several hours, which is not consistent with the typical binge eating as evidenced by other eating disorders. Episodes of late night binge eating can be repeated throughout the night with many separate visits to the fridge or cabinet, which means, I know in my case, I'll be sitting here at the computer or sitting over there on the couch watching TV, which I don't do very often, but mostly I'm on here on the computer, and I'll get up and I'll go in there and I'll grab something to eat. And the whole time I'm thinking, pick something, good. Then I come back and I eat, and I'm fine for about half hour, maybe 45 minutes. And then I'm back in the kitchen, grab something else. Come back here, eat. Back in the kitchen, eating. Back in the kitchen, eating. And it's just constantly like that. Until from like Mine starts around 7 or 8 and goes till about 11 or 12. But that's where I get most of my calories. I don't eat breakfast. I hate breakfast. I physically cannot eat breakfast. It makes me physically ill. It makes me nauseous, and it makes me feel sick to eat breakfast. And I can go, usually on a typical day, I'll eat around 1 or 2 in the afternoon, but I've gone as late as 4 or 5, and I will not even be hungry that entire time that I'm not eating. Anyway, more symptoms and behavior include suffering from depression or anxiety. The night eating episodes typically bring guilt rather than hedonistic enjoyment. So instead of like eating and being okay with eating and feeling enjoyment from eating, you feel really bad and you feel really guilty and you don't want to do it, but you feel like you have to. You also have trouble sleeping in general, like insomnia. And what else? It's considered an eating disorder once it's continued for 2 months or more. I have every single one of these symptoms. I have depression, I have anxiety, I have insomnia. Thank God for Trazodone. Those of you who have anxiety, depression, or insomnia, or I have all three, Doug, which is Inspector 941 on YouTube, introduced me to Trazodone in August when we were at the Atlantic City meet and greet, and we had talked about it for a while, and he let me just try one to help me with my sleep, and I was right then like, I need this. Not like I need it like an addiction, but I needed it because I slept so good. And come to find out, not only is Trazodone non-habit forming, so you will never get addicted to it, but it helps you with your sleep, it helps you with your anxiety, and it helps you with your depression. And I did not know that it helped with all three. If I do not have Trazodone, I sleep for maybe 2 or 3 hours, and then I wake up again, and I'm up, but I have a hard time falling back asleep. But then I'll eventually fall back asleep for another 2 or 3 hours, and I'm waking up in the middle of my dreams, and it's just crazy. I never feel rested. That was not cured with, I had 2 different sleep studies. I've had a CPAP machine. CPAP machine did nothing for me, did not help me at all. My sleep studies all said that I had sleep apnea. This is prior to surgery. And even with the CPAP machine, I was still sleeping 2 or 3 hours a night. So the CPAP machine didn't help. The Trazodone, however, when I take the Trazodone, it does seem to help with my depression for the most part. But I think it's mostly because I'm sleeping 6, 7, 8 hours straight to where I'm not waking up. And if I do happen to wake up in the middle of the night, I'm not all groggy and gross and lightheaded and disoriented. I don't have those effects, and a lot of people do not have that effect in Trazodone. On Trazodone, it just helps you fall asleep. It helps you stay asleep, but when you wake up refreshed. I don't always wake up refreshed simply because I'm waking up in my dreams still, while I'm still dreaming. And that means I'm not going through the whole sleep cycle, which means I'm still tired when I wake up. But without the Trazodone, I would be 10 times worse than I am now, and I know that because I've experienced it. So I have all these symptoms, I have all these behaviors. It's nice to know that there is such thing as night eating syndrome. It says here that treatment, it says night eating disorder tends to lead to weight gain. That's because you're not sleeping. If you're not sleeping, like I tell this to so many people who have had weight loss surgery because you think if you're doing the protein and the exercise and the water, you should be fine. But the sleep and your stress levels are so, so, so important. If you are not getting the sleep, forget about losing weight. You're not going to do it. Your body needs rest. And your body also needs to not have so much stress. If you have a lot of stress, your body will hold on to the weight. I'm telling you from experience, this happens. But anyways, this night eating disorder tends to lead to weight gain. As many as 28% of those seeking gastric bypass surgery were also found to suffer from night eating syndrome. The disorder is accompanied by what sufferers describe as an uncontrollable desire to eat, such like an addiction, and is often treated chemically. They're saying that Zoloft helps treat night eating syndrome. I've been on Zoloft for years. I've had night eating syndrome. Now that I look at these symptoms and the behavior and I think back to my past, I put on Facebook that I've had this for at least 20 years, but thinking back, I can remember having these behaviors and this lifestyle kind of thing since I was like 9 or 10. And I'm 33 now. So that's at least 23, 24 years that I've had this. So I didn't even know that this was a disorder. Having it that long of my life, I just assumed that this is just how some people are, and that's just how I am. And so I've accepted that that's how I am. And the only reason I even looked any of this stuff up, and I know I'm at 10.5 minutes already, but the only reason I even looked all this stuff up is because I was horribly, horribly, horribly depressed and sad last night. It hit me out of nowhere. It just started with like a sadness and then like a loneliness. And then it kind of turned into full-blown depression. And then I just realized that I really, really, really miss Noah a whole lot. Intellectually, I know that this break or separation or whatever the hell this is good for us. But he's been in my life so long, 17 years, and it's just really hard to have that separation. Because this isn't just I mean, he's 5 minutes down the street. If I wanted to go visit, I could. I could call him on my phone if I wanted to. But I know that we're not good for each other. We're not healthy for each other. The things that we say to each other are very poisonous, and what we bring out in each other is not good. So intellectually, I know we should not be talking, and this is not just like I'm going to take a break from you, and then we'll regroup later. Something is really different about this. I think this is going to change both of our lives big time. But I really missed him, and I think it's just because he's been in my life for so long. And I don't want to call, and I don't want to see him necessarily. I just miss him. The essence, I guess. So anyway, so I got really depressed, and I was really sad, and I tried calling a friend thinking that might help, because everybody says, when you're depressed, you should reach out for help. So I reached out for help, and all it did was make me feel worse. It made me feel like there was something wrong with me, because I did not feel like talking. I did not feel like a normal person in society. I did not feel like I fit in this conversation, which was just between me and one other person, but I just felt so awkward. So I ended up getting off the phone, and then I texted 3 of my closest friends. 2 of them are females, 1 of them is male, and I just let them know. Actually, I take that back. 2 are female, 2 were male. I contacted 4 people about it. Because all 4 people are so drastically different, and yet I feel pretty close to all 4 of them. And I just wanted them to kind of like snap me out of whatever mentality I was in. And they all gave me good advice, and they all said things that I needed to hear. And it did make me feel slightly better. But really what I needed was just to go to sleep. And I woke up this morning feeling much better, but I still feel that anxiety. And I woke up this morning like joyous, like crazy happy, and I immediately took a shower, which I never do. I haven't taken a shower for like 3 days because I just haven't felt like it. That's depression for you, and I couldn't get myself to do it. I've not been eating. I don't know. It's just been a mess. But I immediately woke up this morning, and I immediately took a shower, and I was like, oh, this is going to be a great day. Everything's going to be wonderful. And something told me to look up night eating syndrome. Look up binge eating at night. That's what I looked up. And it turns out that what I do is not binge eating. It's not like shoving as much food in my mouth as I can at one time. It's I eat, and then I put it away. And then I realize I'm still hungry, and I want some more to eat. And then I realize I put it away, and I realize I'm still hungry, and I eat. And it's just a cycle, and it just continues. And as soon as I took my shower this morning and I got out of the shower, I was so hungry. I'm never hungry in the morning. I know what hunger feels like. I'm never hungry in the morning. And so I ate, and then I was hungry again, and I'm doing the same thing that I did at night, but I'm doing it all day, and I know it's because, and I'm sorry I'm talking so fast, but I still feel very, very anxious. I'm fatigued. I could really probably sleep some more, but I feel like this buzz, like, I just feel like I really need to leave my house or I don't know, I just feel really anxious. And I'm sure it's leftover emotions from last night, because I just made myself go to bed. I don't know, it's crazy. So I just wanted to come on here and post about night eating syndrome, because I know a lot of us, I've talked to a lot of people who tell me that this is normal, that this is how they are, and I guess we're going to be in the, what's that book called? The, Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders. So apparently we all have a disorder. which I hate that term, disorder. I don't like that. I don't think you should tell anybody that they have a disorder just because they don't fit in with what a majority of society does. I think that's retarded. I'm sorry. I shouldn't say retarded because that's mean. I don't mean it in a derogatory sense. Anyway, I'm just rambling now. Calm it down, Jen. Calm it down. Okay. I wanted to come on here, talk about the night eating syndrome so that you would at least be aware of it. If you would like to do more research, there's a ton of research on the internet about this. There's a ton of books on Amazon. I'm actually going to buy a book on it because I want to learn more about it, and I want to figure out, obviously it's due to emotional stuff, because if I wasn't completely frantic and anxiety-ridden and depressed and sad, I probably wouldn't have eaten like that. And I don't even realize that I'm eating like that, because it's just so normal to me. But something in me, I don't know if it was a dream I had or I don't know what it was, but something told me to look it up, and so I'm glad I did. But now I got to figure out what to do with all this information. So that's where I could leave this. You could figure out what to do with this information. You could figure out if you want to fix it, if you don't want to fix it, if you want to do more research, or if you just want to put a name on it. There you go. You have a disorder, just like me. We're awesome. Alright, I will talk to you guys all soon. I'll do my update video tomorrow. It's my 11-month update. Other than that, I will talk to you guys all soon. Bye.